like I'm floating through the air. The pain I felt is paid for, all is said and done. Oh, I am restricted, fixed upon the web. I need.
Hello and welcome back, I'm Sean, and today we're taking a look at Huawei's latest flagship 12.2 inches tablet and to see if this tablet is any good and worth your money. So let's check it out. So starting with what I like about this tablet is definitely the entire integration that Huawei is putting in here to give you that laptop-like experience out of the box. And you're not only getting a tablet, but you're also getting a super cool Huawei very own Glide keyboard, which is super premium in my opinion and is on par to what Apple's own Magic Keyboard is providing. And on top of that, you don't need to buy a pen for your tablet because Huawei is also giving you the M Pencil out of the box, which is very nice. And to be honest, I love the keyboard that comes with this tablet. It's great to type on, it feels like an actual full-size keyboard, and not only that, Huawei also magically lets you store the pencil right inside the hinge itself so you don't have to misplace it or store it in an awkward place. I also love the charging speed you get with this tablet, and after draining the battery in my battery life test, I plugged it in using the 100-watt supercharger that also came in the box, unlike some other brands that don't come with a charging brick, and it charged it up from 0 to 100 in less than 1 hour, and that's pretty awesome. And to be honest, I really love the tandem OLED screen here that you get, and this is Huawei's own technology in a paper matte design. So unlike those screen protector type solution, this screen is gorgeous and very sharp, and the colors you get here is also very vibrant and beautiful. Also on the display here, Huawei is giving you a 3:2 aspect ratio on the screen, so watching content on this is especially nice. Anything that is widescreen looks extremely beautiful and proportionate without having too many black bars at the top and the bottom. I also like the fact that this is a full-featured tablet, giving you the option for entertainment, productivity, and Huawei provides you with loads of apps for free that can help you with that. This includes a full-featured office tools. Also, another thing that I really love is the sound quality you get with this speaker, and to be honest, this is I think one of the best sounding speakers on the tablet that I've tested so far. And one more point that I want to make for this tablet is the camera that you're getting with this is also pretty good. It's high quality, it's sharp, and gives you enough resolution for very good photos. So no device is perfect, and in this case, I wish that this tablet had micro SD card expansion slot. Of course, getting 512GB of storage is pretty awesome, but nevertheless, more is always better. So far, there isn't any rated water resistant rating on this device, so do be careful when you're using it next to any body of water. Also, although I love this keyboard case that comes together with this tablet, it's a little bit awkward at the hinge here when you start using it. So if you're using it like that and you're trying to close it, it's not the most intuitive, so it does get some taking used to, but after you get used to it, it's really easy to use and it's easily stored away. And finally, just to point out, since this is a Huawei device, there isn't any Google services found on this tablet. So in Malaysia, we're only getting one spec for the MatePad Pro 12.2 inches, which is awesome. You're also getting this in this beautiful green color that comes along with the freebies of for a limited time only. And if you check on Huawei's website, you will be getting a free keyboard, free 3rd gen M Pencil, and you also get a mouse and even a bag. So all for the price of only 3,599 Malaysian ringgit. And this is in the top spec configuration, which is 12GB of RAM and 512GB of storage. And if you find value in what you hear and like what you see, do subscribe to the channel and ring the notification bell so the YouTube algorithm can pick this up. And if you want to buy this tablet, do check out my links below. So let's talk about the display you get with this tablet. So first of all, you're getting a 12.2 inches tandem OLED paper matte display, meaning if you love drawing, this will feel like you're drawing on paper. And with the tandem OLED technology, you're getting beautiful blacks and a very bright screen, and of course a longer lasting display. You're also getting 2000 nits of brightness here, and the tablet does get very bright, so using it under bright sunlight is pretty nice, and this beats out many tablets in this price range that doesn't even come close to the display technology that you get here. So as mentioned here, the display is a nice 3:2 aspect ratio, meaning it is a little bit thicker than a 16:9 ratio display, and watching movies on this is still very enjoyable because you do not get those thick black bars at the top and bottom as compared to my iPad Air, for example, with a 4:3 ratio. The display also comes in a resolution of 2800 by 1840, coming in at a pixel per inch of 274 pixel per inch, making it a very sharp display. And when you use it in most situations, you're going to love how this display actually looks. It's sharp, the colors are beautiful, thanks to the wide P3 color gamut that this tablet supports. And with this, you're going to get a 92% body to bezel ratio, so you can see the bezel on this tablet is actually very nice and very thin, a lot better than a lot of tablets in this price range. And finally, you really need to use this tablet in person to really appreciate it, because this 144Hz display is truly fantastic and it's one of the fastest displays that I have on any portable device. And if you jump from a 120Hz to a 144Hz display, you're definitely going to tell the difference. So let's talk about the battery life you get with this tablet. And as usual, I run my battery life test is to play my YouTube videos at the highest resolution at full screen with the brightness set to its maximum, and just let it run over many hours to see how long the battery lasts. So the Huawei MatePad Pro 12.2 inches comes with a 10,100 mAh battery, and if you use it for your typical day-to-day productivity and some entertainment here and there, this tablet would easily last you the entire day. And testing this and running at my typical test scenarios, this is my results. At the first hour, the battery dropped to about 91%, which is decent, which is very common to most tablets in this range, but I do notice that it drains slightly faster as compared to other tablets that I have. And by the 3.5 hours mark, I am down to about 62% battery, and moving on to the 6 hours mark, I am down to 24% battery, and when I hit the 7 hours mark, I am down to my last 5% battery. Keep in mind that this is running at maximum resolution, maximum brightness, which is not something that most people will do. At the end of the day, the tablet lasted me a total of 7 hours and 31 minutes before reaching the 0% battery mark. And yes, from my test, this isn't as long as some of the tablets out there with a large battery. However, you will be gladly surprised at the charging speed you get with this tablet, because once I fully drained the battery to 0%, I plugged it into the provided charging brick of 100 watts and managed to charge the entire thing to 100% in less than 1 hour. That is insanely fast. So to be honest, anytime I run out of battery, I'm really not going to sweat it, because just charging it for a little while and I'm going to just get back to 100%. So this tablet runs the Kirin T92A octa-core processor, which is a decent processor, and running all your typical productivity and entertainment apps, this is not going to be a problem for this tablet. The beauty of this is that you're getting 12GB of RAM and 512GB of storage as standard in Malaysia, which provides you with good processing speed as well as plenty of storage for you to edit and store your medias. Yes, there isn't any expandable storage with this tablet, but I'm truly glad that Huawei Malaysia provides you with a flagship 512GB of storage space. So with this tablet, I run my YouTube test using the browser version, and from my test, you get to play back at a maximum resolution of 2160, which is the full 4K resolution. And I tried playing 8K content using this device. It plays back well, plays back smooth, but only at a maximum of 4K resolution. And notice that with YouTube, there isn't any HDR support since this is not using the full app, and I do believe that the browser version of YouTube doesn't support HDR. Playing PUBG on this tablet is also really fun, and I can play with a resolution of Ultra HDR with the frame rate set to extreme, and you're still gonna get quite a nice graphics on this tablet, running at roughly around 30 to 40 frames per second. But if you want to play at an even faster 60 frames per second frame rate, then just drop the graphics down to HDR, which is still plenty beautiful, and set the frame rate to extreme, and you're going to get a very smooth gameplay with this tablet. So using this tablet for any productivity tasks such as word processing using the Excel or Word, editing your photos, drawing on this tablet, all feels very nice and smooth. So for all the different purposes that you can use this tablet with, my opinion is that they all work really well. And in other words, you can say Huawei puts the right chipset at the right amount of RAM without going with something overly flagship that would kind of drive up the price point. So this is like a good middle ground. So now let's talk about the design of this tablet. And using this tablet for my day-to-day experience is really great. And although this is a 12.2-inch display, this is one of the tablets that I would gladly bring around, even with the keyboard case attached, because it's light and really thin to bring around. So at the front here, you're going to get this beautiful OLED screen. And if you're used to using Kindle before, the screen kind of looks much like that, because the screen feels like it's at the top of the glass, which makes the device feel really unique and nice to use. The paper matte screen that you get here is also very nice to write on, and it feels like writing or drawing on a piece of paper. At the top of the tablet, you're going to get your power on or off button, which also doubles as a fingerprint sensor. And at the top and bottom, you're going to get 4 different speaker sets, which gives you a very dynamic range when listening to music. And to be honest, this is one of, if not the best sounding speakers I've heard on a tablet at this price point. And on the other side here, you're going to get your volume rocker. And at the bottom, you're also going to get a Type-C charging port that supports Huawei's 100 watt supercharge. At the back of the device is a very beautiful green textured design that has a little bit of this nice paper design going across. And the design itself has this very beautiful random swirl marks on it, which makes it look really beautiful. And you don't really have to worry that it gets scratched up or what, because if you scratch it, it's probably just going to blend in with the back of the design. And also at the back, you're going to get a dual camera setup as well as a dual LED flash. And here you get 50 megapixel main camera as well as a 8 megapixel ultra wide lens. So as mentioned, inside the box you're going to get Huawei's Glide keyboard. This is a beautiful white color and it uses magnet to hold the tablet in place. So you can just put this here and just stick the keyboard onto the tablet and you're good to go. And there you go, it's very easy to set up. And on the keyboard itself, there's also 2 notches with magnets inside, so you can just pull it open and just stick it to the next portion here. You can see that it's very close to the keyboard now. You can also open to reveal the part where you can store your M pencil inside. And with that, you can also close the lid down and your pencil will be nicely hidden inside. And I really love the way Huawei designed this keyboard because there is no visible pogo pins that they use here, but the keyboard magnetically charges using the tablet's battery, so the entire thing here looks really seamless. Unlike the keyboard that you get with the Samsung Tab S10 FE Plus, which still requires to be charged via a Type-C port. So from a beautiful seamless design standpoint, Huawei definitely wins here. So you get 2 cameras on this tablet as well as 1 selfie camera at the front of the tablet, and you get a 50 megapixel f1.8 lens as your main camera, as well as an 8 megapixel ultra wide f2.2 lens for your ultra wide shots. So for photographs shot in bright sunny environment, they look good with the amount of details, especially shot with the 12 megapixel configuration. Images here looks great even in high contrast situation, and you can see from some of the photos that I've shot here, you can see that the sky exposes really nicely, as well as the foreground, which are still very dark, but it's exposed just nice that you can still see some details there. In most situations, I think this tablet takes very nice photos. Plus, I don't think you're going to use your tablet as your main camera. So in my opinion, any photos taken here are very usable, but they are not studio quality photos. The ultra wide camera takes decent photo as well, but as to all 8 megapixel ultra wide lens, you don't have the best resolution when you zoom in. And photos here looks great if you don't pixel peep, and you can get great colors and overall experience is really nice. And when using it in high resolution mode, which enables the lens 50 megapixel sensor, I noticed that you get to zoom in a little bit more as the resolution bumps up, but not by a lot. Images here during the day still looks really good, and there are a little bit more resolution as compared to the 12 megapixel shot, but if you ask me whether or not it's day or night difference, I would say no. But then again, images here still looks great, colors looks nice, and you can still get good natural sharpness overall without seemingly looking digitally sharpened. So the selfie camera here is also really nice, and similar to most tablets nowadays, a selfie camera is not placed at the top here, but rather it's placed at the horizontal top right over here so that it looks better when you're doing video calls. Images here looks decent with the 8 megapixel f2.0 camera, and you do get great shots overall. And I noticed for both the front and rear camera in low light mode, you do get quite a noisy image. But this is quite normal for camera with such a small sensor, and I wouldn't fault this to the tablet itself since this is just a camera sensor problem. If you want cleaner, less noisy shots, then you need a camera with larger sensor, and that's why people buy large mirrorless camera. Videos here are nice, and the rear camera gives you a 4K shot up to 30 frames per second, and if you want to go shoot up to 60 frames per second, then you need to go into 1080p resolution rather than 4K. A slow motion shot here goes upwards of 60 frames per second regardless of what what resolution you choose. Even if you drop it down to 720p, it will still shoot at 60 frames per second. So with all the speakers that you get with this tablet, in my opinion, I think this is one of the nicest sounding speaker that I hear in a tablet at this price range. And you're getting a lot of dynamic sound signature from this tablet, and the bass is decent, vocals is really sharp and clear with no muffling, and the highs are really sharp and bright, which I really love. And I especially love the opening sound when you turn on the tablet. When the Harmony OS word comes out, it feels like you're loading a game on your PlayStation, and it just sounds so good.
Deep once again, my heart is waking. It hurts when you lie all the time. Can't feel anymore. Feels numb when I die. Restart me again and again. Your love, the ghost of me. Been waiting for the light. Won't say goodbye. Won't close my eyes and die. I'm waking, give me life. The ghost of me.
So all in all, in this price range, I really think that Huawei is putting on a really tough game in competing in this tablet genre. And if I were to recommend a tablet at this size, at this price range, there really isn't one that can come close. Considering all the freebies that Huawei is throwing in to make this a super value for money offer, and not to mention the free productivity and drawing apps that you get all together with this price. So if you also want to check out the Samsung Galaxy Tab S10 FE Plus review, click right over here at this video, or if you want to check out other Huawei products that I've reviewed so far, click on this link right over here, and I'll see you over at those videos.